One thing that we are going to learn here today is which is going to be very crucial in your company. If you're a founder especially, then it becomes very crucial. That is, it's not a marketer's job to build these agents on your website. It is not your head of customer experience job to build these agents on your website. Then who is going to own building these agents on your website? It is whose job to take care of anything that's coming new in AI to be handled on your brand or on your website or the other channels that you own. It is whose job. That's where we are seeing early signs of people hiring this designation, which is called AI commerce engineer. These are the set of people whose job is throughout your stack, whether it's acquisition, whether it's engagement, retention, or even customer experience. It is the guy, the AI commerce engineer, who's going to take care of deploying agents end to end. The beauty of deploying these agents via one single person is he will own the training of AI. He doesn't have to go to multiple tools to train a single AI and then power these agents. It is going to be one single AI who is going to power the entire tech stack. That is the beauty of it. Hey everyone. Okay, cool. Let's get started. So a very warm welcome to all of you who have joined us today. Although a lot of folks are joining us, but let's get started with the session. So I am Sunakshi. I'm your host for today. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Manifest AI. Before we begin our session, which is all about top 10 AI commerce learnings from the 50 plus top performing beauty brands that we are going to discuss today. We are going to cover ins and outs of our research. It took us about a couple of weeks, to be honest, 2.5 weeks to research these brands and come up with certain strategies that might be beneficial for you guys as well. So let's get started. Little bit about me. I'm a techie turned entrepreneur. I was a coder at Microsoft. I was a software developer. That was my first job in my career. And then I quit my job there to start this company. Our life changed when we got into Y Combinator. They backed us and it gave us a mileage to show our work in AI to the world. And today, here I am. And of course, I am myself an avid beauty consumer. So the learnings here that I'm going to share today are not just from a perspective where we understand e-commerce funnel, but also from a perspective as a shopper. So stay tuned. Little bit about my company, Pick and Manifest. We are world's first agentic AI CRM for e-commerce. You can build and deploy AI commerce agents to automate marketing, support, engagement, sales, all in one place. We are backed by Sequoia, Y Combinator, and the band Chainsmokers. I'm pretty sure you have heard of their names. And we are trusted by 600 plus global brands across the globe. Few well-known names are Lego, Turex, there are tons and tons of these global brands that we are working with today. We studied about 50 plus leading beauty brands. Almost all of them use personalization in some form today. And we'll cover that in our slides later. But if you pick up the top brands, for example, Elf Beauty, Rare Beauty, Clinique, Moroccan Oil, all have been using personalization in some way. But also there is one commonality that we have observed around how they have adopted AI. So stay tuned. First things first, we saw this is our learning number two, apart from personalization, which is quizzes became the default approach. Any brand that you take, even if you take a celebrity brand, for example, Fenty Beauty Shade Finder or Kylie Cosmetic, I'll just zoom in a bit. So if you see here, Fenty Beauty, the shade finder is almost like, you have to scan a QR. The experience is only mobile, and you can then go through a journey, a series of questions which lets you understand which shade would work better for you. Similarly, if you see Kylie Cosmetics, here it's a bit different. It didn't start with a QR code, but it's a desktop friendly quiz. It starts with, do you know which product you are looking for today? It's a tint, concealer, foundation, not sure. So if you see the pattern of these quizzes, depending upon which audience you serve, let's say if you're serving a demographic which is very early in their journey, for example, if it's a Gen Z versus a millennial, then probably the way you start your quizzes are going to be different versus if it's an older audience towards the end of millennial or a little bit even older, then the kind of quiz that you give tends to be different. So there is no one playbook that you follow in terms of which quiz you should follow, but this is one thing that we observed. There were product discovery quiz, routine builders, shade finders. And in this few examples here, in Sally Beauty it was more about talking about the kind of hair you have, the type of hair you have in Moroccan oil. Maybelline, it was about mascara. Body Shop, it was about again what we talked about, like an age range that you can give. Here in Tarte Beauty, Tarte Cosmetics, it was about your skin type. So depending upon where you feel and think your demographic has the number one question in mind when they come to your website, these brands were starting a quiz. But to all of your information, this is not necessarily required in the age of AI. You don't have to predict essentially where the journey begins. It is AI's job to predict where the journey should begin. So, depending upon which consumer is coming onto your website, what kind of product they are interested in, what kind of intents they have shared, it's AI job to predict where the quiz should start and what kind of question should come. But we'll cover that later. Don't worry about it. Then, the next learning, again, these are few examples from different other beauty brands. For example, a routine builder. So, for example, when I go and buy a toner, usually I end up buying the other parts of skincare as well. Let's say a moisturizer or a face wash. Why? Because if I love a toner so much, then I always go ahead and check, okay, with this toner, what is going to be the best moisturizer? I check out few TikTok reels, I check out few Instagram reels, and then come down to a skincare routine, and then I buy the whole kit. Similarly, these brands have tried out similar things. For example, a routine builder on the Laura Geller website here, they start from the image that best represents your skin tone. Again, with AI, this is really not necessary. You can let a user or a consumer upload their image, their face image, and let AI do the talking. So these were like few examples that we saw. The Ordinary website was also, science meets customization, and that it was about a regimen builder that they demonstrated. Moving on to next, one second. Yeah. Again, like I said, all of the learnings that we saw from these 50 brands, quizzes could only solve simple use cases. And the data that it was capturing was also limited. For example, a skin type or a shade, age, basic preferences, and all of these are subject to error because these are being taken manually from the customers or the shoppers who are coming to website. And usually people don't have so much of time these days. They don't have enough willingness or time to put in all of these information for your quiz app to derive a product recommendation, and hence this needs a solution. Quizzes, like I said, only solve simple use cases. If you see basic questions with range or smaller option when there's scope to learn more. For example, here they're asking what is most important to you regarding your daily sun protection. These are these four buckets that they think are going to be very important to me, but that's not the case. Maybe there's something else that's very important to me, which is not here. Maybe, what my friends think of which SPF I use is more important to me. Or maybe, I go to office daily. I don't care which SPF works really well when it's a beach day. I really care that when I go to office, I should not feel sweaty, but it should do the job. Maybe that is something that I really care about, but that option is not here. And hence, this quiz becomes a limitation for me as a shopper to make a purchase. Glossier tried something else, they gave up so many options here that it becomes overwhelming for any buyer to choose something from. And hence, any static quiz that you have deployed today is causing some kind of hurdle for your shoppers to make a purchase. And like I said, for example, for me, the question was, can I use this moisturizer during pregnancy? It's a very valid question, and I'm pretty sure a lot of beauty brands would have faced similar problem statements. But did any of those quizzes help you find answer for this question? The answer is no. So, again, shoppers have their intimacy while shopping. They want to ask intimate questions which you can never put on quizzes or any static form or flow. And hence, it is important to bring such recommendations, such personalization on chat. Now, what is happening today? This is our again another learning, especially in the website The Ordinary. I asked the question, can I use this during pregnancy? I didn't get an answer. So I went to ChatGPT. So there is a context switch that happened. I left the website, went to ChatGPT and asked, are skincare products from The Ordinary safe to use when you are pregnant? It gave me a wonderful answer. So, in a way, as a shopper, the job was done. I got an answer that yes, ordinary products are great for during pregnancy. But do you see what is one biggest challenge over here? Now I'll tell you what happens when you leave the website and go to ChatGPT. You are not just losing a customer in context switching, but you are also losing their intent data. You are losing a discovery data. You are losing what kind of questions that they were going to ask as follow up. Every information that was supposed to be owned by The Ordinary is now being owned by ChatGPT. It's a massive loss and a follow up loss that we are going to talk shortly. But yeah, it's a major loss. You would have identified this buyer who probably wouldn't have bought a product on your website, but you would have known that he or she is pregnant. And I'm sorry, it's she always. But some brands tried solving it. They gave a one-on-one shade finder. For example, Rare Beauty. They gave a one-on-one shade finder by connecting a real human to the shopper. But what happens here? What exactly happens here? I, as a shopper, have to wait till a stylist is available, till a person who's available to give me a right match. It's not an age where shoppers are going to wait for you. They move on to next reel, they move on to next TikTok within seconds. Similarly, they move on from one website to another within seconds. Even if your product is high AOV, they don't care. They move on to next product within seconds if they are not getting service. And hence, this needs to be solved. Again, I'll skip this. Like I said, shoppers don't wait for answers. We tried this in Neutrogena as well. It's most like world's most one of the most renowned brands. And what we saw, no answer. But when we went to ChatGPT, within seconds we got an answer. Again, a loss to Neutrogena, but again to ChatGPT. And what's happening with this? What's happening with all of this information in ChatGPT that is getting fed in last 2-3 years? You'll get an answer here. ChatGPT launched a 4% commission on every order that's coming through product discovery that's happening on ChatGPT. It's a massive business gain to OpenAI, but a massive business loss to brands like ours, brands who are letting such conversation or such intent-based information easily flowing through ChatGPT. So now, if you don't know this news, just last week, Shopify and OpenAI have announced that 4% of commission of every order that is getting placed through a discovery that happens on ChatGPT will go to OpenAI. Not the orders who are coming through a redirection to your website, but the orders who are happening with a buy now button inside ChatGPT. Of course, you can disable this option and let people come to your website, but why all of this even happened? All of this happened because of only one reason. Brands are refraining from adopting AI assistant who could have helped answer these questions on the website directly, and no one had to even go to ChatGPT to ask such rudimentary questions. I agree, there is some sort of discovery that's available. Let's say I'm there to figure out a black dress or some furniture or a beauty product. Let that be. But when it comes to asking questions about your brand, asking questions about your product, you are losing business by not adopting it. So that's where you need to amplify the use case that you're doing today. Maybe a lot of you must be using AI assistant to just answer support queries or let's say rudimentary product recommendation. But my suggestion would be increase use cases. Deploy agents like size guide, deploy agents like routine suggester, deploy agents like shade finder. As much possible, give your users the answers that they deserve as much possible on your website instead of them going out to the world of ChatGPT. Again, like I said, 4% commission, but this is not just about commission. It's about the valuable intent information that you would have gathered. And did you know with these intents, especially what we do in manifestors, with these intents, you can also power your retention flows. Let's say if you exactly know 10% of customers asked about XYZ product, we pass that as event to your marketing tool and you can create flows and retarget them. So it's not just a loss about commission that you're going to pay to GPT, but if you're not doing all this, you're losing on intents, you're losing on your retention data, you're losing, of course, on your customer experience. And in the end, you are losing influence on your customer. And that is the biggest loss for any brand. And hence, it's very, very important to adopt all of this very soon. 2025 was a great time to adopt it. If you haven't, 2026, I know it's late, little bit, but it's not there yet. And hence, you can always, go back and catch the bus again. Bigger players, how are they doing things? We have seen people are partnering with companies like Google, Meta, trying to build these chat solutions on their website. But there are a few things that we have done with Amazing Brand. I'll just, go back here. If you see there is a floating bar, you can deploy use cases like how does it help with dry skin? Let AI answer that kind of information. It's a brand, it's a $1 billion brand called Lotus Herbal. They have been into existence for last 60 years or even more, and they have deployed this use case. And now moving on to next, it's a company called Overtone. The kind of use case they have deployed is, if you must have seen, there are questions that help people answer something. They have also put a button, ask AI about this product, and then people can come and ask even basic question, how long does the color last on hair? Let them not go to ChatGPT. Let them ask questions here. And hence, last example that I wanted to show, it's again another beauty brand, skincare, hair care brand. Here they have deployed a quiz. Depending upon what product I was trying to search earlier, when I started a quiz, the questions that were suggested to me were based on intent or the products that I had chosen in past. So, basis what my understanding of Henna Sook, my journey on Henna Sook website, probably if I'm not a first time user, I'm a repeat user, basis that it will generate a quiz like you saw that on this video. So depending upon what use case that you really want to serve to your customers, you can go back, check your customer experience, the tool, the help desk tool that you're using, check the kind of questions they are asking, come back, implement those use cases here. And the other way to implement is enable a general purpose agent on your website, see what kind of questions people are asking, and then, go back and enable those kind of agents or make them even better. So these are, few of our learnings that we have gathered so far. The questions that we usually get is this going to be expensive? Do we need a big tech team? Will it take months to build? Or, what happens to the security of data? But these are normal concerns. And the short answer to these is you don't have to worry about anything here. It's not expensive. You don't need a big tech team. It won't take months to build, and security of data is fully secure. One thing that we are going to learn here today is which is going to be very crucial in your company. If you're a founder, especially, then it becomes very, very crucial. That is, it's not a marketer's job to build these agents on your website. It is not your head of customer experience job to build these agents on your website. Then who is going to own building these agents on your website? It is whose job to take care of anything that's coming new in AI to be handled on your brand or on your website or the other channels that you own. It is whose job. That's where, we are seeing early signs of people hiring this designation, which is called AI commerce engineer. These are the set of people whose job is throughout your stack, whether it's acquisition, whether it's engagement, retention, or even customer experience. It is the guy, the AI commerce engineer, who's going to take care of deploying agents end to end. The beauty of deploying these agents via one single person is he will own the training of AI. He doesn't have to go to multiple tools to train a single AI and then power these agents. It is going to be one single AI who's going to power the entire tech stack. That is the beauty of it. Now, a little bit on how we are seeing people adopting it. People are adopting agents when notify when available, summarize review, a floating bar like a search bar. And you don't have to do much. The AI commerce engineer, you yourself can graduate to AI commerce engineer and get a little bit of hike on your paycheck. You just need to put instruction like a basic prompt. If you see here, put a success criteria and an agent goal, and that's it. You are done. So again, it's not difficult to become an AI commerce engineer, but you need to put in some efforts towards it. Again, we are launching a course. It's a free course for everyone who has joined us today. My team will put up a link on the chat box to register, and you can get started with the course when we launch it. For now, you can join our wait list, but we are launching this course very, very soon, within a couple of weeks. And there we are going to teach you how to build agents for your entire e-commerce stack. If you want anyone in your team to join, you can do that as well. So yeah, amazing. I am super excited to speak with you all and understand your AI roadmap for this year. My Calendly would also be there on the chat box. If you want, go ahead and book a slot with me. But again, thank you so much for joining in today. What I'm going to do right now is sharing my email as well in the box. And now, the last 5 minutes, which is my favorite part of the session. Any questions, if you guys have, I'm happy to answer them. Feel free to put that in the chat box. Are there any post-purchase site experiences that beauty brands have seen success with? How to mix and match what you have purchased, etc. Uh, Absolutely. Just answering your question, Jane. Post-purchase, one example that we saw, again, I'll send you post this meeting, was exit intent. So once an order is placed, then it's about, pushing them towards their next purchase whenever they want to come back. Or the other way is right during the session, how do you make them to purchase again? So there are different examples to that as well. One way is discounting, of course, but there are other ways where you sell them a complimentary product at a lower price. So that's, another way that you can, and these are all real time nudges. You don't have to program in a way that you hard code with this particular product. You need to show this. You don't have to do that anymore. You can program AI in a way that on a real time basis it understands what complementary product post purchase that you can showcase. The other set of things that you can do as a beauty brand is let the information get digested from backend, and then you can power it up with your other flows. For example, if you have a retention flow enabled, you can do that. You can use Instagram to retarget them. Let's say if your flow, your agent, your discovery started from Instagram, they came and made a purchase on your website, you can retarget them again on your Instagram DM without spending on ads post purchase. So I'll share that example as well. It's an agent, IG agent that you can enable. Hope that was helpful to you, Jane. But amazing, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Let me know if you need any help. My email is there on the chat. Thank you so much. One thing that I really missed covering was um, you can deploy one agent for one entire year for free with Manifest AI. Again, you'll receive that on the email. But yeah, super excited to be working together. Thank you guys. Bye bye.